The throne room of the Crimson Spire trembled as Sarathia's roar shook the obsidian pillars. Her scales, each the size of a battle shield, shimmered with barely contained fury. The Dragon Queen's amber eyes blazed as she surveyed the cowering assembly of her finest armorers. Reptilian Scalix with their microscopic tools, crystalline Vextar with their molecular forges, and even the ethereal Numina who could bend matter with thought alone. Who dares? Her voice cracked like thunder through the cavernous hall. Who dares touch the sovereign scales? Who presumes to lay their filthy hands upon armor forged in the heart of a dying star? The armorers pressed themselves against the floor, none willing to meet her gaze. Her armor, the legendary sovereign scales, had returned from the forge world of Crixenol bearing modifications. Unauthorized modifications. Improvements her tactical display had coldly informed her. 47% increase in energy dispersion, 62% improvement in joint mobility. Thermal regulation optimized beyond theoretical maximum. Impossible. Yet there it was, gleaming on its display rack, better than it had ever been. Better than it should be, my queen, squeaked Velthrum, the head armorer, his 6 eyes quivering. We received the armor back from Crixenol exactly as specified. But there was an incident during transport, a raid by the Korthax Reavers near the Terran border. The transport was damaged. The Terran border? Sarathia's tail lashed, cracking against the marble floor. A crater appeared. You're telling me my armor was near human space? The word dripped with disdain. Humans. Those soft, short-lived creatures who had only achieved faster-than-light travel 3 generations ago. They had no claws, no natural weapons, no psionics. They were barely worth noticing in a galaxy of ancient powers. The transport made an emergency landing on a human outpost station. Velthrum continued, his voice barely a whisper. Designation Waypoint Theta 7A, a refueling station for freight haulers. The armor was there for 17 standard hours before our recovery team arrived. Sarathia's pupils contracted to slits. And in those 17 hours, some human dared to touch it? The station logs show one individual accessed the cargo bay. A mechanic. The transport captain was unconscious from the crash. This human, apparently, stabilized the stasis field, keeping the armor secure. The field was failing. If it had collapsed completely, the armor would have been destroyed by its own residual heat. I want this human brought before me. Sarathia's words were ice. Now. 48 hours later, Jace stood in the throne room, looking remarkably unimpressed for someone facing a 20-meter dragon queen. He was unremarkable by human standards. Average height, wearing a stained mechanic's coverall with calloused hands and grease permanently embedded under his fingernails. His dark hair was tied back in a messy knot, and he carried a battered toolkit that looked older than some of the Empire's junior colonies. You, Sarathia leaned forward, smoke curling from her nostrils, are the one who touched my armor. Yes, ma'am. Jace's voice was steady, his posture relaxed. Not defiant, just unbothered. Explain yourself before I incinerate you. Jace shrugged. Your stasis field was hemorrhaging plasma containment. Could hear it screaming from 3 decks away. You had maybe 20 minutes before catastrophic failure. Would have taken out half the station. And you decided to repair it? To modify ancient technology you couldn't possibly understand? Didn't modify it. Just fixed what was broken. He pulled a datapad from his pocket, scrolling through schematics. Your field matrix had a microfracture in the 7th containment ring. Probably from the crash. Bypassed it, rerouted through the auxiliary channels and stabilized the whole system. Sarathia's eyes narrowed. That technology is classified beyond your species clearance. The mathematics alone. Yeah, the math was interesting, Jace interrupted, and several members of the court gasped at his audacity. Took me about 3 hours to work it out. Beautiful stuff, really. Whoever designed your primary heatsink was a genius. But they were working with assumptions that don't hold up under stress conditions. So I tweaked the distribution algorithm. You tweaked? Sarathia's voice was dangerously quiet. The armor's thermal regulation was bottlenecking at the shoulder joints. Noticed it while I was fixing the stasis field. Saw the problem, had the tools, figured why not. He met her gaze directly. Something even her own generals rarely dared. Look, Your Majesty, I meant no disrespect. I see something broken, I fix it. It's what I do. You fixed, Sarathia repeated slowly. Armor that has protected me through 17 wars. That was forged by the greatest artisans in the known galaxy. That cost more than your entire world's annual economy. Well, when you put it that way, Jace scratched his jaw. Yeah, I did. The throne room held its collective breath. Then Sarathia laughed. It started as a rumble deep in her chest and built into a sound like avalanches and volcanic eruptions. Echoing through the spire, she rose to her full height, wings spreading, and the courtiers scrambled backward in terror. Humans, she said, amusement coloring her voice. I have ruled for 3,000 years. I have seen species rise and fall. I have witnessed the birth of stars and the death of civilizations. She lowered her massive head until she was eye level with Jace. And you are the first being in a millennium to simply see a problem and fix it. No politics. No permission. No fear. Fear doesn't fix broken things, Jace replied simply. Sarathia studied him for a long moment, then straightened. Velthram, promote this human. He is now chief armorer of the Crimson Spire. The court erupted in shocked chatter. Jace blinked. I've got a job, actually. At the station, you had a job, Sarathia corrected. Now you have a better one. Any being who can improve upon perfection deserves to be surrounded by perfection. You will serve in my fleet. You will teach my armorers what you know. And perhaps, her eyes glinted with something between respect and curiosity, you will show this ancient queen what else her primitive humans can fix. Jace looked at his toolkit, then back at the Dragon Queen. A small smile crossed his face. All right, he said, but I'm going to need a bigger workshop. Sarathia's laughter echoed through the halls once more. In a galaxy of ancient powers and cosmic wonders, it seemed the most dangerous thing of all was a human with tools and a problem to solve. The age of dragons was old, but the age of humans was just beginning.